guys, welcome to the Child Care Director's Chair podcast. It's your host, Erica Sakosio, and if this is your first time on our channel, welcome. If you've ever wondered what it was like to live a day in the life of a child care director, you're going to learn about it today. And I'm not talking about 20 years ago. I'm talking about right now. The industry has changed. We are facing new complex challenges that we weren't facing 20 years ago or even 5 years ago. So we're going to talk about it today with the amazing Sylvia White. She has such a wealth of knowledge with 32 years in the field, starting at a very young age, many different programs, different age groups. So you're going to get a lot of knowledge from her today. On top of that, fun little fact, she is a grandmother of 15 grandkids, loves nature, loves reading, and has been in the industry for 32 years. That alone is accomplishment. So welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me on. Like she says, I'm Sylvia White, I'm a child care expert. I have been in this field for a very long time. I love sharing what I learn. I love helping and others develop. Love leadership more than anything, and I actually love helping develop child care directors.
So I love leadership too. So what do you think? You do presentations and you do speaking. What do you think, or how do you think leadership plays such a role in what we do every day as child care directors?
When I was first looking at what role I can play beyond the idea of being a director and like where was the weak points in childcare, it was that we didn't look at childcare as leaders. We didn't look at directors as leaders. We never emphasized it. Still to this day is not emphasized, and it's emphasized in tidbits and bits, but not as in other industries where we talk about CEOs and we talk about their leadership skills and how they lead a team. And even though they're doing some of that now, but they're still not talking about it in the aspect of a true CEO of a company. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. The child care CEO, child care boss, the child care. We have these fancy sayings, but we don't have anybody developing the directors to be CEOs, to be the leader of their business.
I think there's two really important parts, and that some of it could be people's own scarcity. If I grow you to be as good as me, why would you stay? And why would I want you to be my competition? So I think there's that little bit of I don't want to invest in you that way, right? To me, right. I think the best leader is the one that grows people out of their program. And I have two examples that I can think to mind that happened to me pretty recently. But yeah, I mean, sometimes growing people out of your program. Now, granted, the particular people I'm talking about, they've been with me for 20 years, and it was time for them to go. And even in my own, how I went from a director to a childcare owner, there's a point where if you really invested, there's a point where you sometimes grow yourself out of your position and say, I'm ready to do this on my own. And that's okay, right? That's definitely okay. And I think too, like you said, the conversation of what does being a childcare leader or a leader in the industry mean, right? Because some people might think that looks different, right? Some people might even think that's the title, right? Yeah. And sometimes it's not even the title. So what suggestions do you have for those who are listening that are directors, and so many of the folks now are really new? I mean, you and I have been around for a few days, but there are some very brand new directors out there who are like really struggling. So first thing I want to say is, hey, new folks, the old folks are struggling too. This is a whole new landscape. So please do not think you're failing. I have a director I talk to on a very regular basis, like, am I doing this wrong? And this is hard. And I'm like, you're not doing it wrong. The more we hold people accountable, the harder it is. The more we set the bar, the harder it is. What do you think, Sylvia?
This is what I think. I think that they need to find a mentor, a good mentor, a mentor that is around them that they can reach, touch, and see. I don't have a problem with online mentorship. I've done it. I've people that's in other Chicago, but if you are a new director, you need somebody hands on, somebody who's going to, you can pick up the phone and call at any time, not someone who say, well, this ain't your hour. You know, you already had your hour this month. You need to find that person. You need to ask God, for those who are Christians, believers, you need to ask God to send that person, or you need to tell whoever to send that person your way. You need somebody that you can touch and talk to at any given time, almost, without having to jump through a lot of hoops to do it, or pay a lot of money to do it.
Not only do directors need that, I think teachers need it too. And that's why,
Yes.
there's a lot of conversation about being an offsite owner. And,
Mm-hmm.
there are some benefits to that for sure. But there's, I think, more benefits to being an on site. And when I mean on site, I don't mean you're the lunch lady and the van driver. I don't mean that. But
Yeah.
how can you get
Right.
behind a CEO that you don't see or don't have a connection with? It's very
Right.
difficult, right? And I'm not saying it can't be done, but it can't be done to the level that it can be
Mm-hmm.
done when you see your team every day, when you're short staffed, that you're out on the floor, or you see your teachers real struggling, or they got stuff going on at home, where you say, you know what, I'm gonna hop in your classroom for a few hours. I'm gonna let you do some filing, or I'm gonna have you do something that's outside of the classroom, because I want my teachers to be
Right.
able to be at a point where they can do their all and give their all to the kids, and that takes physical and mental strength, and sometimes spiritual.
It also gives them no like and trust.
Mm,
If they never see the owner, they never see the CEO. I remember when I was in Virginia, I did a stint in Virginia for 7 years, and I was a part of this company. Now, one thing I was like, I would never be a part of a chain childcare. That was like my diehard thing. I was never going to do it, but I went to another state and I had to work. So I was a part. But one thing that as many things I didn't like, but one thing that I did not like, I knew who the CEO of the company
mm,
was. I knew who the owner was. And when I tell you they're one of the largest
mm-hmm,
chains, well, they don't say they're chained, but corporate owned,
mm-hmm,
and they have three different brands across DC, Maryland, and Virginia.
mm-hmm,
I knew who the wife of the company, the owner of the company was. Well, she was the owner as well,
mm-hmm.
her and her husband. She would come into the centers and clean out their supply closet. What is our as directors, our pet peeve is those doggone supply closets. She would come in and she wouldn't say anything to the workers or anything. She would just come in, go right to the supply closet and organize the supply
Mm-hmm.
closet. And she would sit down and talk to the directors one on one. That said something to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah, that is strategy. So she, when she was in her office, said, "Where is my best investment of my time?" And she decided
Mm-hmm.
it was on her people. And so that
Yeah.
is the way you can do it if you're,
Yeah.
if you're big like that. That is the way. But it
Yeah.
isn't to be in your office. It is to invest in your people, and for them to really buy into your brand. They got to know, and like you said, know you, trust you, and like you.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something I just did, and I don't see this a lot in childcare, but I just hired an administrative assistant,
Mm-hmm.
and I did that so that administrative assistant can take over a lot of the administrative work
Mm-hmm.
that I use at my desk for hours and hours and
Mm-hmm.
hours and do. And she's not, and guess what I did not do? She's not inside the center, because we know what
Mm-hmm.
happens when somebody gets inside the center.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the classroom. Now the thing that you hire them for is
Mm-hmm.
not still not getting.
Mm-hmm.
So she's off site. She meets with me every Saturday, and we go over what's been accomplished, what haven't been accomplished, and she's part-time. And this is what we do. But guess what I don't have to now do? Sit in my office
Mm-hmm.
doing I am now out on the floor. I'm in the classroom with the teachers. I am now on top of things like that to make sure that I maintain a quality center. See, sometimes we got to spend money
Mm-hmm.
and fill holes
Mm-hmm.
that we may not necessarily, because we can always say, oh, that's my job. I'm going to do that. But do you really get to do the job, though? You don't get to do it. And guess what other CEOs have? They have administrative assistants.
Mhm.
That's why they can go to all of the networking meetings. That's why they can go to all of
Mhm.
getting their programs out there, getting their businesses out there, because they have an administrative assistant that's doing 35 to
Yeah.
45% of the work. So they can go out and do the things that they really need to do to build the
Yeah,
business.
building your business through people, right? Through your either your networking, you're out at conferences, you're at the state house, advocating for businesses. Because right now, right, if you're not talking to people, they're making decisions about our businesses. Universal Pre-K, perfect example. They're
Yeah.
making decisions
Uh-huh.
about your business, and you're not
That's
there.
right.
You're not there.
And
So you
yeah.
have to be there. So invest in those relationships across the board, in your center, outside of your center. And yeah, I think too, the other thing with hiring that administrative assistant is that you also have time to take care of who else, Sylvia?
You
Sylvia.
have time to go take you.
Sylvia,
Mm-hmm.
right. Because if
Yep.
not, you're there on the nights and the weekends because you, like me, love your people, love your kids. That's number
Right.
one. So all the other stuff gets pushed to the side, although it's necessary,
Mm-hmm.
and then we end up doing it nights, weekends, holidays, and everywhere in between. First one there, last one to leave, all of that, which is not good for our own mental health. And you can't give if you're depleted, right? You can't.
No,
You can't.
and sometimes those people, just like us, we're called to do childcare. They're called to do administrative work.
Mm-hmm.
Let them do what they're called to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it. She sent me the newsletter, our monthly newsletter. This is our first one this year because I wasn't able to get to it. I would have never thought to do the newsletter the way that she has a newsletter.
Mm.
Never would I thought to do it like that. Amazing newsletter,
Mm-hmm.
so informative. Just captured the center and all that we're doing at the center. I'm glad I'm paying you because I would never do this. So it's people can understanding as a leader and the CEO of your child care center, you have to know your weaknesses and your strengths. You hire your weaknesses and you continue to build on your strengths.
Yeah.
Those things that you can't allocate your funds correctly. Allocate your funds to where they really need to be.
Mm.
Many times we're talking about so much other stuff. The teachers don't care about pizzas, y'all. They do not care about pizza.
I've never heard not one teacher say, "Well, I've stayed with you for 20 years because you bought me pizza on Friday." No one. No
But
one
you
is
know what
saying.
they do care about? They do care about growth.
Mm.
And the more you're able to build leaders in your child care facility, I build leaders and I tell them, even if you don't stay with me, I know that I planted a seed in you that made your life a lot better than it was before you met me. One example, many years ago, I was at a center with my first director position. Actually, there's a young lady there. Now she's very good with kids, still very good with children this day. But her heart was to go into the nursing field. So I mentor her.
Mm-hmm.
I mentor her how to handle people, how to be a good leader, all these things. She's in the nursing field, but about 6 months ago, she saw me and she said, "Hey, I want you to know everything that you taught me when it came to leadership, how to handle people, how to just love on people, and how to help them get to where they want to go." She said, "I'm using all of them in my job right now." Man, my chest went, woo!
Yeah.
The things that's why you can't be afraid. If God put you in the position to lead and to build leaders, build them. Build them. Your program is going to be better in two ways. If they stay with you, they're gonna be using those skills, right? But if they leave you and go to another, just to go to another position, a higher position, they're going to be talking about you everywhere. That's going to build a reputation of your center.
Yeah.
I had one young lady who, at this location, she was under me, and I told her, "I'm going to fire you. But I'm not firing you because you did anything wrong. I'm firing you because you need to go get a job. You need to go in an assistant director position.
Mm-hmm.
You need to move up."
Yeah.
I have been mentoring her ever since.
Yeah.
And now she's in like a great position.
A couple things that you said, Sylvia. So when you hire like an administrative assistant, right? The return on your
Hmm.
investment there is worth it because
Yeah.
if you, I'm gonna give real examples, right? So let's say you're in charge of the CCAP program, the where the state will pay, right? If
Hmm.
one kid falls out, those certificates they have end days. One kid falls out and you don't catch it because you ain't been in your office for 3 weeks. You lost
Hmm.
either 3 weeks of revenue or you got a back bill, which takes another 6 weeks to get. So now you've
Hmm.
lost out on income. There's that.
Yep.
The other thing, the beautiful newsletter, and I'm speaking from experience because I have a girl who does mine way better than I could do it.
Hmm.
Right? I say here are some things I know I want in it. You add the rest, talk to the teachers, and makes it beautiful. But that communication to your families and that feeling like they know what's going on, they're invested in that community, keeps people at your school. You lose one
Yep.
kid, what is that? 12,000 to $15,000 a year by losing one kid. Do the math.
Yep.
By just that, if that newsletter can save you 3 customers in a year because they feel connected, what's the return
Hmm.
on that? For sure.
Exactly.
For sure. So make those investments, as you had said, where they need to and know what your strengths are and your weaknesses are. And
Hmm.
and then, just people who champion for your program. Because when you give to others, they give back to you. You don't have to ask. It just comes natural. And so new folks and folks out there that maybe are struggling, you gotta reconnect with your people, your parents, your teachers,
Yeah.
and your community. And that also will make you feel good, gives you energy,
Hmm.
right? Like you said, you
Yeah.
pumped your chest. You was like, yeah, I did
Yeah.
that. And feel proud
Yeah.
of that. Feel proud of that work. What other things do you
Yeah.
want to share here? What other things do you think we really need to talk about, Sylvia?
I think we need to talk about how we hire.
Okay.
A lot of turnover is due to the way that we hire. Last year, this center that I'm the executive director over has only been in business for 3 years. So we had to go through all of the, with a new center, the grunt, people come and all turnovers. And so I was like, Lord, this is too much turnovers. I'm not used to this. One thing he showed me is change the way I hire. So everybody should have a mission and a vision statement. If your school doesn't have a mission and a vision statement, you need to immediately go and make one and come up with one. Get a team of people and come up with a vision and mission statement. Your vision and mission statement it determines your culture in your school. But your culture is the people that you hire. You should be hiring based on your vision and your mission and your values of your school. And not just hiring because somebody is easy to transfer them because they're already in the system or just because you need to fill a spot. Now, this was hard because when we were doing this transition from just hiring people to hiring people according to our vision, mission, and values and our culture, then it took some time.
Mm-hmm.
So every Sue that came in the door, we couldn't hire. We had to slow it all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And I got somebody to temporarily handle the hiring for me. Because as directors, we're looking at ratio all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at filling the need instead of filling the culture. So I got this young lady who was a part of the church that we rent from. And she did that. She did the hiring. She did the initial, she didn't do the actual hiring. She did the initial interviewing. She filtered for me. And then she brought them, then whatever she filtered out, then I did the actual final interviews to decide who. I picked better quality people who had a heart for childcare and not just a job,
Mm-hmm.
actually fit the culture of our center. And now we have over half of our staff has been there for over a year now. So we have to change how we hire our employees and stop just hiring any Sue, Jane, and Harry off
Mm-hmm.
the street because they came and fill out the application.
Yeah.
I also look for those people who are who are hungry for a position. You know, because y'all know the attitude right now is that you owe them something. But I look for a person who has called me several times. Are you still hiring? Do you still need somebody? Many times, those are the people that stay.
And reciprocal. I think reciprocal is a word that I use a lot. I want people we have a reciprocal relationship. I'm gonna do everything I
Mhm.
can for you as a child care owner, and I need you to do everything that you can for my families and my kids. That's what I
Yes.
need. You know, that give, like, do the best that you can. And again, going back to what we had said earlier about investing in folks, people need to
Uh-huh.
invest in themselves too. They're going to take that
Yes.
initiative too. You have to be hungry for it too, right? So I think
Uh,
those, both of those things. And I think one of the things, and you had a great advice there, as having somebody filter it for you.
yeah.
Also,
Uh-huh.
always be filtering, right? Even if you don't have positions, because we do leave ourselves very vulnerable, and they know it.
Yes.
And so by doing that and saying, well, I'm going out and they need me, they ain't gonna let me go because they ain't got nobody to go in that side of the room, right? Right. But
Uh-huh.
if you are constantly hiring and they see that and they know that, and that you're just going to keep elevating the folks in your space, some people are going to step up, some people are going to sneak out the back door, and that's good, right?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. That saves us from having to let them go, but
Yeah.
constantly hiring and looking for top talent. And then when we get
Yeah.
them, Sylvia, where's the other place that we sometimes drop the ball?
We don't nurture them. We don't train them. We don't grow them. We don't ask them questions. We don't get to know them. And one of the things I do in the interview, I ask them, what's your goals? What's your 5-year goal? What's your 3-year goal?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be personal or career.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, if their 5-year goal is to be a nurse, because you get that a lot in childcare.
Yeah.
People come in child who want to be nurses and CNAs, and I ask them, well, how can I help you get there?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell them, hey, at the local technical college is free right now for anybody in these areas of workforce. So maybe you want to help them get registered for college. Maybe you want to help get them information about schools in the area
Mm-hmm.
that you want to help them get to their goal. When people feel like, especially most of us as women who's in this industry, when they feel like somebody is helping them reach their goal, they'll stay loyal to you for as
Mm-hmm.
long as they can.
Yes, yes, they will.
Oh, that's not childcare.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too that speaking of school and so many things being free, I wish it was free when I went to school. I had to pay for that. But there's so many opportunities, right? Right. They are investing. Every state is investing in early childhood. Whether we
Mhm.
agree in the way that the money is it doesn't matter. It's
Right.
irrelevant. We're part of the conversation for the first time
Uh-huh.
ever in 25 years I've been around,
Yes.
that we're in the conversation the way that we're in the
Uh-huh.
conversation right now, right? So
Right.
every state is dropping money in, whether it's investing directly into the teaching staff. Well, yeah, but then they're all going to, universal pre-K. That's true. But
Uh-huh.
we still are investing in early child care where before nobody was. Nobody, it was like
Yeah.
an afterthought,
Uh-huh.
right? So that's important. And for the new folks that are coming in, because school might sound overwhelming, start with a CDA. It's easy
Mhm.
enough. Not that it's easy, but easy enough to get started, especially if your
Right.
folks have
Right.
been in the field for a little while. What do I do with all this PD that I've been taking over and over? You get it in a
Uh-huh.
portfolio. We get you professionalized. We get you your credential,
Mhm.
right? That's that step. And then they get excited. There's not like
Right.
that feeling when you get that envelope in the mail and it says, I did it. Sometimes we go from, okay, here's what we need to do. And we give them like this huge thing and it
Right.
seems overwhelming, right? Because we're
Mhm.
excited, 'cause we're both very passionate about what we do. So,
Right.
somebody
Yeah.
new coming in, maybe they're not sure yet this is their thing.
Mhm.
So, it's those baby steps. We also have some seniors now that can't afford to just retire, and they're picking up work in our field as well. And so maybe they're
Mhm.
they're not going to go to college, but they've been doing some things for a while, and we can help them professionalize
Yeah.
their portfolios as well. So always hiring and always nurturing.
But we as directors have to keep learning and being that example to our staff, to our employees. When I'm in school, if I'm 58 and be in school, you can do that. If I can do this, you definitely can do this. being that a constant example, always putting it before them. One thing that I tell my staff all the time, I want you to be better. If you don't even like me, I want you to be better than when you first came here. And that might be young ladies who are in, living in lower income housing. Their lifestyles is maybe not where we may have done,
Hmm.
but a lot of times they don't know any different. So that might be mentoring them in their mindset to change, that I can accomplish things in my life because there's tools out here that will help me do this. And you're giving them those tools. You're giving them the way that they can actually do better for them, their children, that their children may see a better way outside of where they are. And so many times we have to remember that sometimes we're all that they know. The next level is us that they would ever see. And so we have to take our roles as the childcare leaders and CEOs. We have to take that role as very serious, actually, because we're an examples to those around us,
Hmm.
whether we want to be or not. We are. Charles Barkley.
And it's a privilege too. Like I hear directors, kind of riffing about their teachers, and I'm sure some of you are listening to this podcast right now. It is a privilege to be a leader, right? And it's not a title. It's not a title. And so you have leaders in your building right now, good or not good,
Mhm.
who are leading the group. They're leading the group. They're at the water cooler, and they're either saying, "I love this place," or "I hate this place." And your team is bonding, and you don't want it to be
Yes.
trauma bonding. You want it to be, "I love this place," and they're going to spread
Right.
that at the water cooler. That person to come and do our closet. What can we do for her,
Yes.
right? And I
Mhm.
think that comes back to you. But and then when we say grown leaders, we gave a few examples of growing people out of the program, but sometimes the leaders are the TAs, the TA in the classroom, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can really truly be a leader. So I think that it's important to recognize that. Don't get caught up in your title. Don't think that you're better than anyone else in the building.
I have a TA she's an absolutely strong leader. She just doesn't want to be a lead teacher.
Hmm.
But you know what I've done? She's my mentor.
Hmm.
I'm mentoring. She's my mentee. I'm mentoring her in her leadership.
Yeah.
It's just a conversation. It's just between me and her. I told her this is not to be spread around the center. This is between me and her. And even that is a test of her leadership. Can
Hmm.
you keep things confidential?
Yeah.
I'm actually mentoring her.
So I've had some teachers that have bachelor's degrees who said, "I just want to be in the classroom. Please do not put me in an administrative role. That's not why I
Uh-huh.
came into the field. I really have this love for teaching." And I say, "That's
Uh-huh.
great. I love that you love teaching." So you can also use them to help mentor your other staff. All the mentorship does
Exactly.
not need to come from you. There's different perspectives,
Exactly.
different personalities,
Mhm.
different experiences. So it doesn't always have to be you that's doing the mentoring.
And in a lot of ways, it shouldn't always be you. If there's something, like this one young lady is very special, and I know she will be a very strong director. Is something that she wants to do, and so I'm mentoring her. But the rest of them, I have sub leadership in the school that I pair the teachers up with each other. Hey, I want you to teach her how to do the curriculum that we use. And I give them all, like, I want you, like, we get ready to, we apply for a grant to have our playground made over.
Hmm.
And part of that grant, two people have to come to training. Well, I got one of the teachers who I said, this is going to be your project.
Hmm.
You're going to have to training. If you're willing to do this training along with me, then this is going to be your project. You're going to help us put in this, pick out things for this new playground. So it's different things like that you can give your employees to do
Hmm.
that will help them connect it the to your program, that they don't want to leave. And I know people say they don't leave, people don't quit the program. I don't think that's always the truth. I think they quit because they're not connected. Sylvia, you wasn't the problem when I was there. You wasn't the problem. It was so and so. I think they quit the program because they're not connected, or they don't feel like they ever really got connected to it.
Yeah. or they don't see that growth opportunity for
Right.
themselves, either
Exactly.
financially or just learning new things to keep them excited and engaged to keep coming back. No one wants to be on a hamster wheel. So,
No.
Sylvia, what does a typical day look like for you?
Okay, my day starts at 5. Usually I do 30 minutes of very quiet time praying or reading the word of God for about 30 minutes. Then the next 30 minutes, I'm getting dressed, showering, all that kind of stuff. I usually hit the door. It usually takes me about an hour to get to work because of the traffic in our area. We have two buildings. So my office is in the Academy Prep building, which is a 3 and 4 year old. 7:30. I bring them breakfast. I bring them coffee. I bring them their favorite drinks. I sometimes bring them morning breakfast snacks or whatever because they come so early in the morning. Everybody has to be in the building by 9 o'clock. By once 9 o'clock hit, they do devotion and Bible study, praise and worship, that kind of stuff. And then they go on with their day. Then throughout the day, every 45 minutes, I get up from my desk and I walk through the building, checking on the teachers, bathroom breaks. We have walkie talkies if the teachers need me directly. They come on the walkie, I go to them. I usually, when they go outside, I'll go spend outside time on the playground with them. I'm in meetings, of course, throughout the day. And then usually I leave work about so on four. I usually leave about, and then my day ends at 6. But we have Brightwheel app, so parents continue to message me on the Brightwheel app. But I usually cut it off by 7 and don't
Mm-hmm.
respond back. But unless it's something that they really need to know, like my child had a cut or a bruise, nobody told me what about it, that kind of stuff. But other than that, so that's my day.
So, for those of you who are signing up to be a director, just know that your typical day is probably going to be from the time your center opens to the time your center closes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just going to be typical. And of course, get supports like Sylvia said, an assistant director, a morning lead opener, a night closer. But there's a good chance there's going to be communication throughout the
Yeah,
day while the center's open for
pretty
sure.
much.
So that's something that you need to think about. I love that you said walkie talkies. So walkie talkies, if you don't have them, put that on a priority list. You need a walkie talkie or an intercom system throughout your school for a variety of reasons. But we
Yes.
use them at our school too, and they help communication not only for the folks who are talking, but to the folks that also can hear. It really
Mm-hmm.
does help quite a bit, and your staff feel very comfortable when they know, okay, Miss Sylvia is out on the playground. I'm out on the playground too, so I'll be able to connect with her there instead of everybody like, oh, do you know where Miss Sylvia is? Where's Miss Sylvia? Right? Because
Yeah.
that used to be my thing. Or one of the things I'll do, like if I'm in my office and I'm ready to call in payroll and I need for 10 minutes or 20 minutes for no one to enter my office, I'll say, hey guys, for the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna be unavailable. I'll check back with you in 20 minutes. So it helps
Yeah.
relieve some anxiety for folks and also still
Yeah.
feel connected with you, but also be able to put up those boundaries. So, all right. So, what do you think your 5 best, quickest tips would be as we start to wrap it up for folks? 5 quickest tips for childcare directors that you think they need to know that we didn't cover.
Number one, have special time for yourself. If you can carve out going in a half a day once a week or having one day off a week, do it. Best thing ever I ever did. Number two, know where your strengths and your weaknesses are and get and hire people to fill in those weak spots. Three, you're only one person. You cannot be in the classrooms and run the center and cook and clean and be the janitor and all those things. You cannot do all that. Four, always pay attention to the culture of your center. If it is toxic, you need to find out why it's toxic, who's causing the toxicity, and you need to let them go. Five, you need to rely on that strength, that direction, spend that time doing that because you cannot run a center by yourself. I've been doing this for a long time. You cannot run it by yourself at all.
As you pointed out, Sylvia, you're still in school. Continue to read, listen to podcasts, go to conferences, connect with mentors, connect with not only just mentors, like even colleagues in the field. So this podcast really is, I love helping people, but it's also my therapy sometimes, like where I can just be in a community where other people will understand it. Like your family thinks they understand, they don't understand it. But other people who live the same day in, day out, lots of hours and never being off. And, and I don't mean to make it sound like it is really truly a blessing to be able to do it, but it takes a high level of energy and a high level of attention that you're always on, that you do need, like you said, that day off. So Wednesday I usually do my recordings on Wednesday, and I take my day off. I'm on the clock, but I'm off site on one day a week.
Yeah.
So that is also very life changing. Even if you're still working, I tend to find that on those days I work on things I really enjoy, the things I want to do, not the things I have to do. So you brought so much wisdom to this show, Sylvia. I thank you so much. So you do some trainings in your tell folks a little bit about where you do trainings.
So I have a business called the Petra Agency, mobilizing the child care workforce, and I do training and development, a lot of professional development for directors, leadership development. We are actually getting ready to have all of our own stuff online soon. We're working on this. We also are working on having have an apprenticeship program for those who want to be directors or in the child care field. You can go to the petraagency.com. That's the Petra, Petra agency.com. And you can find things there. We are updating our website, so it might not be fully available, everything on there as yet. But I do trainings, and I am a registered trainer in the state of South Carolina. But I've trained all over, everywhere: Virginia, Illinois, Chicago.
I love you, Petra. I'm thinking I'm gonna get you down here to Rhode Island. We got a conference coming up pretty soon. we can talk about that off the recording here. But me and Noelle are putting together a conference that is happening May 3rd and 4th here in Rhode Island. It is going to be a national conference. We're going to have folks from all over the country coming in. All right. So those of you who have tuned in, thank you so much. And as always, it's the small details that make a big impact in the success of your child care business. That's all for today.